Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special yearly episode of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game, especially today, movie news, and what we watched or played over the week. My name is Barry, along with my co-hosts.
My name is Craig. That's it.
Oh, I was like, where's the extra? My name is also Craig. We'll keep it simple.
We'll keep it simple today because today is just a yearly tradition that we always do, as it is now past Christmas and the start of Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. I hope you're all having a very happy holidays and Merry Christmas to those that celebrate. This episode is going to be our personal top 10 / honorable mentions. Next week will be the big kind of show and what we fight over and things like that. But this isn't. We're not fighting. We're in the holiday spirit.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
There's no better way to start off 2025 than fighting with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's what we like to do. We want to fight with each other and make sure that, let's see here, what random game can I name? Unicorn Overlord is at least in top 2 of the list. So
There you go.
Ooh, Barry.
That's
Getting
a
spicy over here.
bold take.
there we go. Is it in top 2? Let's find out for me. We are going to start off with a fun little game hosted by our friend Craig here.
All right, guys, I'm going to continue. I almost called it a tradition, but at least a little game that we're playing where, Craig, you brought up a couple of podcasts ago how just nowadays the back of games don't really inspire to buy or don't even just get your creative juices flowing. So I have a collection. Some of them are a little bit more descriptive than others, so I'll have to temper it down. But let's see if you guys can guess what the game is based off of what I read off the back. I'm going to start with what I consider, I guess, an easy one or a warm up.
Ooh, okay.
You guys will probably get it in 2 seconds. I don't know. But welcome to Task Force X.
Suicide Squad. To
Boom.
Kill the Justice League.
That is.
That man owns that on physical.
I have it on
Man.
physical too.
Wow.
Physical too.
You guys are crazy.
Do you want to hear something crazy? This is my first physical Xbox Series X game.
Really?
I have
Wow,
not bought it.
that's
Out of-
insane.
Yeah, it's been out for what, like 6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had mine for I think 4. I Game Pass, guys. And then what I like I'd get
Wow.
on PlayStation only.
Okay. I did not know that, but that kind of blows my mind a little bit.
That
You
is,
only
yeah,
have
but I
one.
guess
Yeah.
that's the benefit of Game Pass. Like I
Yep.
still have a ton of physical.
So do I.
Like,
Right.
definitely my PlayStation catalog is bigger, but
Right.
that's insane.
Yeah, I don't now that I'm actually saying it, it's blowing my mind too. All right, we'll get back to the games here. Weave through crowded streets, across sidewalks, and even underwater. Time is money.
It sounds like Assassin's Creed, but it can't be. Because time is money doesn't make sense. Weave through crowd said Assassin's Creed, but
Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
underwater too. That is going to be the
is it
Time.
is it Payday?
It is not Payday.
Okay.
I'll read it again. Weave
Okay.
through crowded streets, across sidewalks, and even underwater. Time is money.
Man, if it wasn't underwater, I would say Crazy Taxi.
Oh, it is.
Oh!
Oh, good job, Craig. That was a shot in the dark. I would not.
I
have
don't
gotten
ever
that one.
remember going underwater in Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, I think you can accidentally maybe go in the ocean.
Okay.
Probably. I think
Huh.
that's what it was.
Okay.
That was good. I had to cut out some of that there because it just says in Crazy Taxi all over the rest of the sentences.
Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, what a great game.
Nice job.
All right, 2 swords, 2 generations, 1 destiny.
He's
Is
got
that
two swords.
Onimusha?
I heard Onimusha. It's not. What did you say, Barry?
No, I was just trying to figure it out. It's like 2 swords, so he's got 2 swords.
2 generations,
Is
1
it Ghost of
destiny.
No, Ghost of Tsushima doesn't have 2 swords.
Oh man.
It's not Ghost of Tsushima, is it?
It is not.
Okay, just making sure.
Sorry, I was trying to see if I can read more, but it might give it away.
2 swords. 2
Trying to think.
generations.
I'm like scratching my brain here.
What console is this on?
PS3,
Okay,
but
it's a PS3 game. All right.
it does span multiple consoles.
Okay.
Okay,
And
I got to guess.
what is it?
Soul Calibur.
There, good job.
It is Soul Calibur.
Good job.
It's like, what else has multiple swords? Yep.
Okay, let's see. All right.
Cool. Pulling out the old ones on us.
I
He
am
is.
all right. So an open world post-apocalyptic kung fu fable RPG
Whoa.
is how it's described on the back of the actual game.
World
Kung
Post-
Fu RPG.
Post
Kung Fu Fable RPG,
Oh my
open
God.
world post-apocalyptic. I do have a hint that'll come up. That'll be a dead giveaway.
And what console is this on?
PS4.
PS4. I got nothing on this one. Oh wait. No, I don't. I thought it did, but I don't.
This particular game made me, I wouldn't consider a laughing stock, but it was one of those Craig is heavily invested in this
Oh, say
game.
no more. Biomutant.
It's Biomutant.
Oh, okay. Good job.
Describing itself as an open world post-apocalyptic kung fu fable RPG.
Kung Fu.
Yeah, Kung Fu really threw me off.
Yeah.
Right. It tried to
But
be that.
everything
did.
about that game is throwing someone off. So it's
Right.
Did you ever finish that?
I didn't. I got like
Okay.
70% in, and then I just couldn't do it
70.
anymore.
I was hoping you say you quit at 30.
No, I think I was really trying to die on that hill, but like I invested my heart into it. I'm gonna play it, kind of thing.
Yep.
All right, I only have a couple more here. Two bodies fight with a single mind. This is a GameCube game.
Oh boy. This is all
Two
you, buddy.
bodies fight with a single mind. And
I was not gonna go with I was not gonna GameCube. That totally threw me off because I was gonna say Beyond Two Souls there.
no,
That'd be a good
I do
guess.
like the guess.
Man.
GameCube.
I never had a GameCube, so
It's not like Beautiful Joe 101, is it?
No, it's not. Let's see if there's
GameCube.
anything else.
It's
guess
not a
everything-
Fire Emblem game because I swear to God, if it is, I'm just gonna relinquish my Fire Emblem card.
It's not. But it was a pretty dope game for Switch. Pretty dope game. 100% unique. Barry, I think this would be more in your wheelhouse.
So
to be
wait,
honest with you.
this game is on GameCube but also on Switch.
No, sorry. It's only on
Okay.
Switch. It's only on Switch. Sorry.
Wait,
no, I'm confused.
is it on GameCube or is it on Switch?
It's only on Switch.
Where did GameCube come then?
I don't know. Sorry.
Okay.
All right,
Sorry.
so Switch.
Reset.
Okay.
The invisible timer also
Okay.
resets. We don't have a timer for this game, but if we did, it would reset. This is only a Switch game.
Oh, man.
Two bodies fight with a single mind.
Oh, well, no, that's not the Cerveza. It's not the Bayonetta game.
It's not. No, that was a great
Yeah.
guess though.
Oh yeah, good guess.
Well, then there's also like Snipper Clips, which I'm trying to think like 2-player games, which that's not Snipper Clips.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I'll give you this. It can be a 2-player game. I think I didn't play a 2-player,
Okay.
but great visuals. Let me see if there's anything else I can read on it. Humanity's last hope against the hordes lies with a few. I had to blank a word out there because that would have gave it right to you, Barry. Humanity's last hope, only hope, against the hordes lies with the few.
Lies with the few. Man, I'm gonna be
Two
upset
bodies,
I'm definitely
single
out on
mind.
this one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get it. What is this one?
This is Astral Chain.
Astral
It's been
Chain.
a long time. See, I actually don't have that game physical. I have it digital, so that
Oh,
makes
okay.
complete and utter sense to me. But you said Astral Chain. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Astral
Sorry
Chain.
about the game.
I don't think I ever played that.
That's
It's a
one
good game, and it's crazy like how that game, and especially I think it's like the Machina game that are like you can't find them
right.
new or used. Like they stop production of them. That's why Switch games are so difficult sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
seriously.
Astral Chain, absolutely good game.
Okay, I got two more. Liberate your kingdom, reclaim your destiny.
Is that Zelda?
No. Hint: it did come out this year.
Okay.
Liberate your kingdom.
Liberate your kingdom, reclaim your destiny.
This is not Wukong, is it?
It's not, but it sounds like it could be on the back, can it? It's
Yeah.
not though.
Yeah.
It's tough because you guys play some weird games, and then my
Yeah, we
mind
do.
immediately is like trying to figure out what weird game it is. So if it's not a weird game, I just like can't focus on that. So I'm like,
What
"Damn."
console is it on?
I have it on PS5.
Okay, but it's multiple platforms.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's multi-platform.
Yeah, it's worth
Additional sentence: a fallen prince shall rise again.
Is that Prince of Persia: Sands of Time?
Nope, but that's a good guess too.
Is it Unicorn?
Based off of how
Overlord?
this sounds. What did you say?
Is it Unicorn Overlord?
It is Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah. Kingdom, Lost.
Only because I literally just played Unicorn Overlord this past week, so
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
makes sense.
okay.
I hated it, by the way.
Oh, darn.
Nice,
It's not for everybody.
It's not.
All right, this is the last one. Two larger than life heroes are brought together by the hand of fate. This is also this year, and it's PS5 that I have it on.
Two larger than life.
Two larger than life heroes are brought together by the hand of fate.
Wow.
So it's like two heroes. Hand of Fate. PS5.
It's not like a dragon, is it?
What was it?
Is it like a dragon?
It is like a dragon, infinite wealth.
Yeah, I was gonna guess a Yakuza game. We were getting there, but good job.
It just sounded like a Yakuza thing they would say.
Good job, Craig. That was primarily the Craig's here. I guessed one game, and it's because I got the warm up one.
If it's any consolation, I had Fire Emblem Engage and it's an
Got that
additional
one.
one.
Definitely would have gotten that one.
But I was reading it, and it's like heroes past and present engage. After 1,000 years of slumber, the divine dragon Alir. It's like it's all over the back.
Yeah.
You can't hide it.
No, you definitely
Would
can't.
have got. You would have said like heroes past and present. I would have said Fire.
Yep. Not even 2 words in. Fire
Yeah.
Emblem.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for
That's a good
hosting
one.
that. Yeah, that game session there. So now we will get into our personal top 10s. But before we do, our crew has some honorable mentions here, which
Yeah.
I just imagined. So let's see here. Craig, I think you have the most. So we'll start with you. Then I'll go. Then Craig goes. And we'll just keep going
Okay.
around until we mention them all.
Do you want me to give you all of them? Is that I'll just get them all out of the way? Or do you want me to go through and
Let's
tell
go
you?
one at a time. Let's go
Okay.
one at a time.
So I have 6. Barry, you have 5.
Yep.
Craig, you have how many?
I have 4.
All right,
Oh,
so I'll
see, this is
do.
perfect.
So I'll just do my first one and then my first 2. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Honorable mention number 1. This one's gonna make you guys chuckle a little bit. Is Infinity Nikki?
Oh, see, okay. There we go. You're liking that game.
I do enjoy that game a lot. Free to play for sure. I mean, microtransactions all over that bad boy, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I don't know if you guys have tried it at all.
I have not. No.
Okay.
Leanne did an hour. I didn't start mine yet. I have it downloaded though.
Okay. It's just like a good, like when you just want to relax. That's my relax game. And then my second honorable mention is going to be Visions of Mana.
I have Visions of Mana on mine.
Ooh.
Incredible game. I just have honorable mention because I stopped playing it and didn't finish it and never went back. But I really want to because I was having a blast with that game.
Yeah.
Those are 6 and 5 for me.
Okay.
All right. So for me, because you already put in Visions of Mana, I am
Mhm.
also just going to add Unicorn Overlord.
Oh, honorable mention, huh?
Yeah, I really like that game, but I could definitely see where, like, for Craig, like, you did not
Oof.
like that game, and I can absolutely see where people do not like this game.
Yeah,
Um, and surprisingly, when putting together my list, I did think it would make it, but there were a lot of good games that came out this year, ones that I enjoyed more.
true. So that's 5 and 4 for you. Is that right? Could
Yeah.
you? Okay. Um, Number 4 for me, I put Quiet Place: The Road Home.
Oh yeah, that
Had a
game.
ton of fun with that game as well. But when I look at all these other things, like you just said, Barry, there's just too many good games this year.
Yeah.
I have Unicorn Overlord on my list
Ooh,
as
nobody
well.
put it in the top 10.
I have it on there. It's just there were better games that came out. I didn't fully finish it. Because Stellar Blade came out. That was the game I was playing until Stellar
Yeah.
Blade came out.
Yeah.
And
Um,
neither one of you went back to it after that?
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
I was chipping away at it, but things just kept coming out.
Yeah, they didn't
Um,
stop, especially
right.
Okay.
this year.
Okay.
Where are we at in the order?
I have 3 left.
Okay, so I technically have 3 left too after that
And
one.
I have 3.
Okay. Next one for me is Like a Dragon. And again, just another one that I did not finish because other games came out. I would love to go back and finish it, but I don't know if I will, honestly.
For me, I got 1000X Resist, late addition to my list here, and while like a lot of people do love this game to death, and it's definitely going to be in a lot of people's top 10 this year. Uh, if you're really not into, like, this game is very walk around visually novelty type of deal, and if you're not into that, like, no one you're not going to give this game a chance. It does have a very engaging storyline, and that's what made me get to the finish line for it. But of course, like, for my kind of dumb male brain, like, I want to do something, I want to hit, let me hit something. And it's like, no, I can't. Like, it's more or less like walk and slight puzzle solving. So, um, 1000X Resist, I did like, but it's just not enough for my top 10.
Okay, so I'm just gonna get it out the way. Shadow of the Erd Tree is in my honorable mentions.
Adding a
Okay.
It
DLC into Honor, at least it's not in the top 10. At least it's not in the top
That's
10.
fair.
so it's not in the top 10 for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is to me more Elden Ring, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And there was some fantastic moments. I also didn't beat it. I think that also says something too, because I'm the Elden Ring person on the platform, if there's any of the
Yeah.
three of us. And it came out, it did its thing, and it was successful in what it does. They just know what they're doing, but not a top 10 for me.
Hmm.
Just not.
My second to last here is Lego Horizon Adventures. That game is done extremely well. It's a little bit different than your normal Lego formula. It's more streamlined, which I can appreciate, and does a good job of telling the Horizon story. And I said this before, but I would rather play that than the first Horizon game 10 times out of
Yeah.
10. So,
That's saying something.
yeah.
Next one up for me is Sonic X Shadow Generations. I primarily added this because, and I don't think it could be in the top 10 because a majority of this is Sonic, like, Generations remaster for PS5. Just the Shadow part is so freaking good. It is so much fun to, like, learn how to speed level some of these things and get good at Sonic games is pretty much what I'm gonna, like, reference it to. But it is such a fun time.
Okay. Next one for me is Frostpunk 2. One of those games I just wish I finished, but I don't know. It had a very gritty story behind it, which added to the gameplay. And I don't know, there was something about just trying to balance the political aspect of it as factions grew in your city, while also balancing the resource aspect, and a different resource aspect balance for me. I'm used to playing, back in the day, games like Age of Empire, things like wood, gold, all those things are things you run into, and this is more of an oil and food is obviously in there too, but there's so many small mechanics that make it a fantastic game. So that's why I have it there.
All right, so the gold medal for honorable mentions for me, I guess, is Space Marine 2.
Okay.
I thought it was a great game. I had a ton of fun playing it. Probably any other year probably would have been top 10, top 5 maybe, but not this year, man.
My gold medal for honorable mention is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, and I know it's going to be in your top 10, Craig. It's probably at least somewhere, but just for me, Prince of Persia, it takes a lot for me to really get into a Metroidvania, and I do really like the fluidity and how much fun the combat is for Prince of Persia, but it just kind of unfortunately reminds me of how much I just want a like third person action game.
Yep.
For Prince of Persia, and like this game is outstanding and doing great at what it does in its own right, but it's just like, man, imagine this game with all of this, but like in classic Prince of Persia style. Like it'd just be such a fun time.
I like that pick, Barry. My gold medal for honorable mention is Thank Goodness You're Here.
Hey.
Game blew me away. Not a top 10. If it was 4 hours or 5 hours, maybe it would have a contention, but that also might have diluted the jokes and the humor in it by playing it longer. But I don't know how else to describe that game except telling everybody who can hear my voice right now just to play it. Just play it. Just don't play it around your parents if you're younger. But yeah, the humor's great. Reminded me of like Ren and Stimpy, some other type of game of shows that I wasn't supposed to watch at a certain age, kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, top 10.
You guys ready?
I'm ready. This should be interesting this year. I feel like we're not gonna line up on a lot of things this year. We're kind of all over the place.
I feel like our bottom fives are really gonna be. I think that's what usually ends up being the.
You think our top fives are gonna be similar?
I
don't think they are.
But...
I don't.
Okay, well.
All right. Number 10 for me is Prince of Persia: Lost Crown.
Yep.
I was going back and forth on this one or Space Marine, but exactly what you said, Barry. The fact that I don't like Metroidvanias and this game still, despite all that, made me like it, has to make it a top 10. And also, it came out at the beginning of the year, and I didn't forget about it. I was all the way back in January when I beat that game. It's the first game I beat this year, and I'm still talking about it. So definitely deserves to be in the top 10.
I love that.
I was trying to find a picture for these things so that I could just kind of put them up on my tablet. It's just not working as well. My number 10 for me is Neva.
Cool.
Okay.
Made by the same developers of Greece. What I really love is it is a fantastically gorgeous game. It is very simple, gorgeous looking, side scroller type game. It is a shorter experience that tops out around 4 to 5 hours. But as an animal lover, I lost my childhood dog 2 years ago. Like the story of kind of how this works is you start off with Neva the dog, like animal type thing because it's got horns too. But it starts out like kind of helpless because it's a puppy. It's very young. As you go along, you start to get more attached to this thing, and it also starts to help you in combat, and that also like increases that bond. And the ending is just done very, very well. Neva's number 10 for me.
All right. Number 10 for me is College Football 25.
There you go.
Now, it in your top 10. You did put it in your top 10, so that is.
So, like, hear me out here. So, it's our personal top 10.
Yep.
And I was toying between that and a couple of the honorable mentions that I had on the list. And I got to, like, kind of a finalist because of how Thank Goodness You're Here blew me and my wife away as we played it and how memorable it was. But I played that game for 2 hours. And if I look at, like, my PlayStation, like, year review, I put hours into this is straight up facts by how much I played. That was my summer game. I played it well into August. I did multiple campaigns as different coaches for different teams. And to talk about the game, just like you two gentlemen were hyped about leading up to it, is they really provided the authenticity of a college style game. I found myself not skipping specific cutscenes when I went to a college that I was more unfamiliar with their customs, and I liked seeing their customs of what they did pre-game, post-game, whatever. And the modes are fine, and it played well for me. I didn't have a lot of problems, not too many to be
Yeah.
totally discouraged. So it's 10 for me. Like I had to put it somewhere.
Do you think next year they put in the Pop-Tarts
I hope so. I need the Pop
from the
I need the
Pop-Tart Bowl?
I need the Pop-Tart bowl in the game. I
Yeah.
need it.
They have to do something with it.
I like that.
Like they have to partner up with them. That's just be like number one on their list to get.
Yeah.
Number 9 for me is going to be Still Wakes the Deep. That game came out of nowhere. That was a nice little short 5 to 10 hour horror experience on like a ship, an oil rig. It was everything about that game was incredible from start to finish. I don't see a whole lot of people talking about it. It got nominated for a couple things, I guess, but number 9 for me. Love that game.
Number 9 for me is Gundam Breaker 4. As my first foray into the Gundam Breaker quote unquote series, it was probably the best jumping on point. I really like the aspect of like customizing your Gundam, putting its own weapons, guns, special moves. Like it really is your type of fantasy where you can create the Gundam of your dreams, really, and then just take it into battle and destroy other Gundams. And the reason it doesn't go up higher is because the combat is very simple. It is a Dynasty Warriors type game, if I can relate it to anything. But the benefit and what brings it in here is it's your Gundam. You get to make it your Gundam walks around the world, amongst others, and like the game is still constantly being updated and putting out new stuff. And I've really been enjoying Gundam Breaker 4 this year. It's kind of a surprise, and I'm glad I jumped on this one because the other ones apparently were not as well received.
Ooh, okay. So number 9 for me is Silent Hill 2. Atmosphere, gentlemen.
Yep.
I think they did a very good job with this game. It's a revered horror game. It's a revered game for puzzle mechanics as well. And I don't know, they took it, and Craig, I remember how worried you and I particularly were for it, and was it going to be good? And that footage that they showed at the beginning didn't look polished, and started playing it, and it looks great. It looks fantastic. It still has the same feel of walking through the hallways of the hospital, down the streets, cutting in through boarded up buildings and wondering what's around the corner. The radio helps and hurts you because it kind of also freaks you out. Well, if you're people like me, if you're people like Craig over there, you
I'm
run
always
towards.
scared. I just hide it.
Oh, nice. Nice. Need to learn that.
Yeah.
But I think they were really successful, and it had an impact on me. So that's Silent Hill 2 as my 9.
All right. Number 8 for me, prepare yourselves. Number 8 for me is going to be Stellar Blade.
Yep. I knew it. Knew what he was coming up with. Yep.
I obviously I enjoyed it. It's in my top 10. So you can't say that I didn't enjoy the game. I don't know, man. I know I'm not as hyped as you guys were on it, but still, I'm not going to say too much because I know it's on your guys' list as well. But boss battles were good.
Yeah.
The levels pretty much were good except for the desert area. That sucked.
I get that.
Yep.
I get the
Yeah.
desert and wasteland
Sucked.
areas.
Yeah.
I understand your qualms with it.
Yep. Way too big, way too long in that area.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed all the different costumes are cool. The fact that they're still adding to it, giving you reason, I guess, if you want to go back and play. It's not enough for me to go back and play. But I did buy that game. I own it physically. I don't buy a lot of games anymore. So that one is physically on my shelf.
I think that Barry and I won this year if you put it in your top 10 just generally. It wasn't an honorable mention.
Was there ever a doubt it wouldn't be? Did you really think I
No,
would put it?
I knew you.
Yeah.
I knew you'd put it somewhere.
Yeah. You just had a lot of fun making fun of us.
I did.
For it. Like,
It really did.
Number 8 for me is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. I really enjoy this type of game. It kind of takes that next step in Dynasty Warriors where it is more of an RPG. The characters you're using level up. What I find is the combat is a lot of fun. The story is actually somewhat good. The only thing that really holds this game down is like you're you're supposed to bond with your teammates, and unfortunately the bondings are all cut to these spoken out loud words on a screen that you kind of have to go through that I end up skipping for the most part anyway. The multiplayer is fun. It's more like Monster Hunter, which I was not expecting in the multiplayer, but they did such a good job with their boss battles, such a good job with the combat, and it got like an English release, so everything is English voice acted, and it's a free to play game. Oh, sorry, it's not free to play, but what I mean, it is a standalone. You get this game and you can get all the characters you want without having to buy and spend money on it. And
Yeah.
that's something that like a lot of these people that are getting into the consoles, like considering Granblue is a mobile game, and we have games like Zenless Zone Zero, Wuthering Waves, like they all require you, despite the fact that the game is free. You should they want you to pay money. This one, you pay your $60, you can get everything with your $60. You don't gotta buy more.
Yep.
That's a good point, Barry, because it is free to those are free to play, but they dangle like the buy it so much in front of you, and you're like, but that looks so
Exactly.
cool. Yeah, good point. And good point with the bonding, like the list of just events of just bonding and then clicking on it and like, ooh, that
Skip.
yeah. No, that was a very good point. All right, so number 8 for me, sorry, Craig, is Dragon Age Veilguard.
Okay.
Um, I didn't expect to have a game pop into my top 10 like this. I know we've talked about it a lot recently on the podcast, so I'm not going to drown us too much in it, but it's it just reminds me, it's just Mass Effect Light for me, which deserves a spot normally in the top 10 because of how impactful Mass Effect games are in general. And I really enjoyed the characters. I like the hub area. I like the surrounding areas and the combat, and it was very entertaining. So that made 8 for me.
7 are sevens. This may be, you may feel like this is too early, but number 7 for me is Black Myth Wukong. I enjoyed it. I think it has its issues. I'm looking at the tiger boss fight specifically as like almost breaking my spirit. But man, those boss fights are just incredible to look at. The game itself is very pretty to look at. I did have issues as far as like technically with it from time to time. But what a great ride for like a not new developer, but like for their first, real game. They knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
But for me, there's just other games that I enjoyed a little bit more than that. So 7 for me.
All right. 7 for me.
Wait,
No, it's okay.
Oh,
You can
sorry,
go.
Barry. Sorry.
You
Go
can
ahead,
go.
Barry.
I don't mind.
No, go
Number
ahead.
7. Okay, so number 7 for me is Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2. I know you had it in your audible mentions. What really got me with this game is the ties to just playing old Gears of War with my friends. This is very much like Gears of War combat. It is fun to just mow down hundreds of locust equivalents, grab them, tear their spines out, get behind an enemy, and saw their jugulars off with a chainsaw sword. It is just it's a fun world to get into, and the Warhammer lore is so steep with stuff to do and references that like I don't understand, but it's fun to kind of peek into that world, because as much as I am like a D&D fan, like the Warhammer 40K franchise is just as deep, if not deeper. So it was a really fun game. I just wish there was kind of more, maybe longer campaign, more interaction with like your teammates in a campaign would have been nice too, kind of like in Gears of War, where Phoenix and Dom would go two separate ways and you kind of affect each other in which way you take. And that's what personally I think that game is missing.
A good call. I need to play that. Uh, Persona 3 Reload is my 7.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay.
That seems low for
Uh,
you.
Yeah, I would agree.
um, I thought so too, and then I looked higher, and I just could not push it in front of the other ones that are left on my list. But uh, this was my first go at Persona 3. I did not play it when it came out, nor did I play it prior to this particular release of Reload. And phenomenal story. Um, One day I want to kind of almost compare like Persona 3, 4, and 5, and like which one is darker, which one is, has
Yeah.
more lighter themes or different themes. But it's quite a wild ride, and I thought that having one singular location where you're dungeon crawling, for lack of a better term, at the moment happens, I thought that that was going to get old. And surprisingly, my will was formidable playing it. It really was like the last 20 floors where I was like, I just want to see what happens to this group, that type of thing. But soundtrack is incredible. It I still play a crap ton of it to this time frame, and it's definitely worth a playthrough. Loved having it on Game Pass too. I almost want to purchase it since I played it for free technically. But that's my
Yeah.
7.
Okay, 6. Last one before the top 5. This is important. Which
Yeah.
one just barely does not squeak in for us? The one that just sits on the outside for me is Silent Hill 2.
Okay.
Um, for everything you said, Craig, like it looked terrible when we first saw it. I had no hope in this game, and then I started up and was immediately hooked. So they did an incredible job. I'm hoping they can do. They don't need to do the first one, but if they could do 3 and 4, that'd be awesome. Just keep making remakes of those and Resident Evils, and we're all set. Just nailed pretty much everything. I can't think of really anything bad to say about the game. Honestly, I didn't have any issues.
No,
It's just a phenomenally well done game.
so polished.
I know it's Barry's number 1. Sorry to steal your thunder.
I'll get my thunder back somehow. But number 6 for me is EA Sports College Football 25. I did just put it outside the 5, but for a couple different reasons. Like one thing I will say is we are definitely, especially I think me and Craig are, we are more college football people than NFL. At least me
Yeah.
personally. Especially where we live, college football rules everything that we do here. Go Penn State. As I just need to put that out there.
Yeah,
There you go.
So what I love about this game is that it did capture some of the traditions that are just so nice, and you get to see the different traditions. Like being a player, you got to see what the Wake Forest, Cal, what Ohio State does with dotting the I. All of these different these different traditions, the Colorado and the Bowl. Like it's something different, and they put the time and respect into the college game. And the crowd meter is also something that they thought they nailed this year. Um, in NFL, and I know NFL diehards are just gonna be all up in a fit because I'm gonna say this, but like you can't match the college football atmosphere. Like
Nope.
it is something that isn't matched in the NFL. You just can't. Like people don't like when you can lose 1 or 2 games and that's it for your season. Everything is on the line sometimes every game, and what college football does right there, they do perfectly. But the only reason it's not in my top 5, and I know I'm kind of going on a little tangent here, is one, the be a player has to be better. Like this divvying up of time, like it's pretty boring in the end. And by the time you're in your 5th year senior, you're just pressing buttons, just trying to get to the next game. And I also think it was a very missed opportunity not to do like an online leagues like they do in Madden. I know they can do it. They've done it in Madden, and this is the exact same format. You just need to be able to allow me to play with my friends, whether it's it's some people's dreams to play football with their friends. I want to be able to like play with you guys at Penn State, all 3 of us, a running back, quarterback, wide receiver, and
Yeah.
take your team to national championship. Like there are just some things that they just totally missed or didn't put in the game. I can hope next year that they do. Um, but the whole hype that everything that came with this game will probably never reach what it did this year for finally having college football back.
Right. Barry, just a side note about the game that you said. I literally, because of college football, I remember maybe at like 10 hours in, my wife asked me, "How's the game going?" She's like, we do that, all the time. And I was just like, turns out I'm a pretty successful coach. That end quote is what I told my wife about a video game I was playing. Turns out.
Turns out. You're good at the
Anyway.
coaching thing.
Yeah, I'm good at the coaching thing in this video game. All right, number 6 for me, just outside 5, is Infinite Wealth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. It takes a while to finish for all of you out there that may be taking a stab at it, but I don't know. Kiryu and Ichiban just have a wonderful, wonderful chemistry in this particular game. They made Hawaii look very pretty. Game looks fantastic. And I do like how many different locations that you can have in the game. For anybody who has played Like a Dragon, Yakuza, it really nods a lot to what you have been used to seeing while adding a completely new location to switch things up. And that was refreshing. It was a great change that they did, and it worked. They nailed it. I don't know. This was the only game. This was one of 2 games this year, I think, to get me teared up when I played it. And it was because, the last 2 hours is phenomenal in storytelling. So it didn't make the top 5 for me, but I think it deserved to be on the list. I stuck through it. I went back to it. It was the first game that I played on my Portal, and I finished it because of the Portal. So it had a lot of meaning. So like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, fantastic.
Top 5s.
This is it.
These are the big ones, right?
Yeah.
All right. My number 5 is actually college football.
Yeah.
I put it in there because exactly what you said, Barry. I don't think any of us are going to put it in our top 10 next year. I just don't see it. Like, we're going to be just as excited, but it just doesn't have that same feel of we've been waiting over 10 years for a new college football game. And I think, yes, it's missing things like you said, but it gave us what we wanted.
Yeah.
And I can't ask for too much more other than small tweaks. And based on the amount of hours we've all put into it, there was just no way I was leaving it out of the top 5, at least for me. So it had to sit at number 5 for me.
I was going back and forth between like college football and this game here in my top 5. Persona 3 Reload ends up at 5 for me. Would have been higher had the DLC not put us, and I feel like it's a little unfair, but it is part of the game. And Persona 3 Reload, the base game itself, I feel like the characters are stronger in Persona 3. I really like their development over some of the characters in 5 or 4. The theme of death is all something we've grappled with, and it's something where I enjoy kind of the morality of the thing. And I think the ending plane worked out really well. I just don't like how they did the DLC. I feel like they probably should have redone the ending for the DLC, and they had the time to. There's no real excuse for, like, the ending has always been an issue for this game, and the answer, Episode I guess, did not give you the answer you were probably looking for. Yes, it still kind of does the same thing that the ending of Persona 3 Reload does, but that doesn't take away from, I like the dungeons, I like how you spend time with your teammates, and it's just a lot better, I think, character progression coming from a Persona game.
That was a very good, well-rounded description of why that's there, Barry. You guys are gonna hate me.
Hate you? That's a lot. That's a lot, man.
Never.
5 for me is Astrobot.
Okay.
I think that's low. I'll admit, I think that's low, but
5 for me is Astrobot.
We listen, but we don't.
We don't judge. Yeah, we listen and we don't judge.
So I'm thinking, and I rearranged my top 5 as probably we all did like 60 million times. But what I weighed is how the game made me feel, how eager I was to play it. I did that with all of this, not just with this game.
Yep.
I am super, super proud of how this game turned out. I sound like I did anything with it, but they really nailed the nostalgia of PlayStation in general. A clean, for me at least, a clean platformer. Um, wonderful nuances in the game. I thought funny incorporation of the PlayStation controller and the audio that they can. I never got tired of the pitter patter
Nope.
of Astrobot running. That was just me. The different worlds, how they were incorporated. I'm thinking like the giant robot world, where he ends up like pouring water and like sprouting flowers at the end. I don't know. Maybe I'm combining worlds, but in any case, it was an action-packed adventure that was adorable and also engrossing at the same time. Um, but I couldn't put it above the other four on my list.
Okay. Number 4, I'm going to come in right behind you, Craig. Number 4 for me is Astrobot. So I'm not far off from where you were. I have come to a consensus with myself this year, having replayed through all 3 Crash Bandicoots, all 3 Spyros, and Astrobot, that I can firmly say that I think platformers are my favorite genre of video games. It just goes back to childhood and what, there were so many of them growing up, but that's where I have probably the most fun, right, in games. And I think they just did an incredible job. It deserves its Game of the Year win, despite all the millions of people online saying it doesn't. To me, it's a flawless game. It really was.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything bad about it. There's just other games that, for me, there was 3 other games that I found myself like you said, rearranging the list and being like, you know what, I think I liked playing these games more this year. But 4 is a solid spot for it.
I'm like in real time editing my list in my head right
He's
now.
gonna move it. He's moving Astrobot to 4.
I am moving Astrobot to 4.
Oh,
Wait, where did you have it?
I had it at 2.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I mean, top 5 is top 5.
Yeah, no, it is
Right.
top 5, but like I think, and I'm just gonna get this out of the way right now. These top 4 games I loved.
Yes,
All of them.
I
But
love
there
all
are
these
these
5,
little
10.
there are these little quirks that I'm trying to like, okay, this was worse in this game than in another, but this game does this worse than another. It's really hard, but I think what got me to actually like real time switch is more or less like the platforming genre is like this was a fun game to play, but after I was done with Astrobot, it's done. I've
Yeah.
pretty
Yep.
much moved on from after completing that challenge level. Did it bring me some of like the greatest satisfaction I had this year? Yes. Especially beating that challenge level and going through, and all of the cameos were just fun, and that game is a technical marvel. But like Astrobot, the ending of it, once you collect it all and you're done, like I didn't think about the game anymore.
You know what,
Right.
Barry? To be honest, you saying that, my remaining 3, all 3 of them, when I was done with them, I was like, I could play them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
when I beat Astrobot and I got the platinum, I uninstalled it, and I was like, I did it. You know what I mean? Like, I bet you in like a couple years, I'll probably go back and play it again. But I
Yeah.
did not have that same sense of like, let me jump right back in.
Yeah, and again, just phenomenal game.
Yeah.
Phenomenal game. Number 4 for me is Stellar Blade.
What? How
4?
dare you? How dare
4?
you?
Yeah.
That's too low.
And like and you know what's funny? I said the same thing, but I told myself I cannot justify it over the 3 games that are above it. But Stellar
I'm proud
Blade
of
is
you.
Stellar Blade is phenomenal. I want to play that game again. I wanted to after I was done, but I held off for the DLC. Went and saw what the DLC actually is, and then it kind of just made me set it another week or 2 back because it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's just I don't know. I loved it. The Wasteland, like your comment on the Wasteland, Craig, you're completely correct, and Barry, you agreeing it. I think we all discussed that multiple times. It does get a little trying, but there's something about the combat of that game combined with how they switch things up. For me, I don't know. I had to juggle this notion, but when you get to the complex, that until the end of the game was
Yeah.
blew my mind.
It was good.
I loved it. I loved all of it. I loved getting into the complex. I loved every event after that. And the soundtrack I still play. I played it yesterday. I played it if I was doing something today, like standard stuff around my house, I'd be playing it. It's my favorite video game related album of last year. It's I can't believe that that's their first try at a real game, like
Yeah.
a non-mobile game, So that's where it lands for me.
All right. Top 3. These are like the cream of the crop, right?
Yeah.
All right. Number 3 for me is Dragon Age. Came out of nowhere. Never beaten a Dragon Age game before this. Don't know why. I just never did. Same thing Craig said. It gives me that Mass Effect feeling, which I loved. That whole end mission where you're trying to decide who goes where and it affects whether or not they survive is incredible. That just reminded me of, I was like, I'm playing Lord of the Rings pretty much is what it felt like. And I loved every single character. I think they're all well done. And just an insanely well done game that is definitely not getting the appreciation it deserves. 100%. I beat that game and I was like, I could play it again right now with a different archetype and have just as much fun for another 70, 80 hours. Easy.
What archetype did you play as?
I was whatever the bow, like hang
Oh
back.
yeah, you like doing rogue.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
rogue.
like doing
I
rogue.
always do rogue. Yep.
You did that in Diablo too, right?
Yep.
You were rogue. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just before we get into my top 3, I just want to admit a omission, just because I did not play enough of this game to include it in my top 10 or honorable mentions whatsoever. It's going to be Metaphor. I don't have Metaphor anywhere on this list.
Yeah.
And it's because I didn't get to play enough of it. So
Did you even start it yet?
So okay, so let me get into it.
Okay.
I bought the collector's edition of the game on Xbox, but then I
Okay.
played the prologue demo on PS5.
Yep.
I have to restart.
Yep.
And that in itself has been a very glaring task for me, especially considering like I could play other games and pick right up where I left off.
Barry, let me know if you want to borrow my copy so you don't have to
Oh
freaking
no,
buy it.
I am now past that point.
Okay.
So I'll talk about Metaphor some point next year. That will be a game that I finish, but I just want to admit
I'm in the same boat. I didn't play anything past the demo just because I haven't bought it.
Yeah.
That's all there is.
Number 3 for me is Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade for me is enough to put it at number 3. There are not a lot of games where Everglow, a track from Stellar Blade, is in my Spotify Wrapped as one of my most played songs this year.
That's a bop. That's such a bop.
Such a good song. And Silent Street, all 3 themes, I could listen to them on repeat endlessly. It's ridiculous. But Stellar Blade for me is just one of the few games I have gone back into this year, not because of Nier DLC, that's part of it, but it's because the combat is so much fun. The desert and the wasteland are both very like kind of drudgy sequences that I'm not a big fan of. I really wish they replaced them with just 2 other linear-like levels. It would have cut the game time, yes, shorter, but I also feel like people's memory and experiences with Stellar Blade would have been a lot better had they done that instead. Music, combat, and a Nier-like type story. I was all for Stellar Blade. It is such a fun game, and the combat is something that the reason I came back to it, because it's responsive and fun.
I'm mad that you said Everglow and I knew exactly the song that you were talking. I mean, Silent Street is Silent Street, but like, I don't know. Sorry. That soundtrack is phenomenal. 3 for me. It's Black Myth Wukong.
All right.
Now, we've been talking all this year, and we've come to a basic common agreement that Black Myth is a better game overall than Stellar Blade is. Um, when I was thinking about my list and how much fun I was having, and that's where it laid. It was the 1-2. And Black Myth Wukong has some of the most memorable bosses in a non Souls like game collectively than any other game that I've played in recent memory. And for that, plus the linear progression, which keeps you on task going to those bosses, the amount that they have, the uniqueness of them as well, very few reskin kind of thing. I don't know. It took the world by storm for a reason. And for that, it sits at my third place for the year. So love that game. We'll speak highly of it.
I mean, I did also have that higher than Stellar Blade as well. So we both admit it's a better game than Stellar Blade.
I didn't.
You didn't play it.
Except Barry.
Yeah. Yeah, but you didn't even try it.
I didn't. Doesn't matter.
If you would have tried it, you would have put it
Nah,
above it.
that soundtrack can't be beat.
I mean, the soundtrack definitely can't be beat. This was a hard choice for me because I really do deeply love Stellar Blade and what it brought.
And as a fellow Blade, Stellar
Bladian.
Blade aficionado, a Bladian, I think I might have to revoke your Blade card for the year.
I had them 8 and 7. They were right next to each other. I just think Black Myth is a better game than Stellar Blade. Both good, both top 10.
Black Myth is a technical mess.
I didn't have that many issues.
I've seen it. I've seen the technical mess up.
I had a few, but I had more with Stellar Blade, I think.
No, I didn't have any
Nah.
That game ran smoothly for me because of my Bladian membership.
Black Myth would have definitely been lower for me if I had really any technical difficulties, but it didn't really do that for me.
All right. Top 2? I feel like our ones are all the same.
I'm still fighting.
Okay.
My number 1 and 2. I might edit it in real time here.
I'm telling you right now, neither one of you have my game at number 2. I promise you. I believe I would put money down. Number 2 for me, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Yeah.
I'm really going to be upset that I didn't get to
that game is incredible. I know, like, I will not take credit because I've heard numerous podcasts say, like, that is a video game. Like, it is just like old school action. Reminds me of Dishonored in a way. There's just so much about it that works. Like, you could go through and do the main stories and be done with that game in 8 to 10 hours if you want to. And you can see all the amazing done cutscenes. Troy Baker pulling off Harrison Ford's speed, like how he talks and sounding like him, is incredible. You cannot tell that it's not Harrison Ford. Or you can spend 30 to 40 hours and do literally everything and clear out all the areas and find all the stuff and have just as much fun. I did that with the first 3 areas. I got to the 4th area and I could feel that fatigue coming on. So I just finished the game and had a blast. But there's so many things that you continuously find that just make the game so much better. Like, there's a heavy emphasis on hand-to-hand and stealth combat, but the fact that you can pick up so many different things from the environment, they all have very specific, usually more than one way that if you sneak up behind somebody, it'll do a different animation with how you knock them out with it, when they're all hilarious. It's just, the puzzles are good. It feels like an Indiana Jones game. The villain is incredible. Everything about it is, even if you don't like Indiana Jones, I think the game itself is enough. But it made me be like, man, I need to watch the Indiana Jones movies again, because they're such iconic pieces of my childhood. And to see it play out in a video game and be like, this is just another Indiana Jones movie that I happen to be controlling. So I know, like, neither one of you, I think, played it, right?
No, my wife's playing it right now.
I have it downloaded, but I haven't started.
I mean, and the fact that it came out late and, like, didn't get nominated for anything is kind of a shame. And it's on Game Pass. Like, it's just there to play. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible game.
Barry.
All right. So my number 2 here, I'm not going to live edit it. I'm going to keep it the same.
Okay.
Barry.
Number 2 is Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
Hey, you had it higher than me.
Dragon Age 2: The Veilguard for me. And hey, I was the first one that played it. I was high on it the moment I got it.
And then you stopped.
And then I stopped, and then I put in work over Christmas. And like I just kind of love all of the characters that's in it. They do a really good job with gathering all of these different people from different backgrounds, and really the only reason that this game doesn't top my number one is for like there was always kind of the mean dialogue options. Being mean in this game is not mean what it used to be in
No.
Mass Effect with them.
Sarcasm.
It is
Yep.
yeah, it is more or less he said like your character says things like it'll say like stop there, but then your character will go, hey, you gotta stop. And it's just like I kind of want to be a jackass sometimes if I need to be. So it just didn't allow me to self-insert myself as much as I probably wanted it to. And on top of that, while Dragon Age games, like it's always been known for your decisions to make a big difference in these games, the past decisions are something they you really can't bring them over with this much of a gap between Inquisition and this. So the
Yeah.
time I've spent with it and the characters you do get to see, they don't make a meaningful impact like how I was hoping they would be. But the charm and the combat itself is fun. The areas are not that big, so it's not like desert. It's not like Wasteland or Desert. You can go through an area within 15 to 20 minutes and still have enough time to do the side mission that you've been meaning to do. So Dragon Age Veilguard for me does deserve its praise it too.
I like it.
I hope you did it, Craig.
No, he already said Dragon Age down below.
No,
I did.
I'm hoping that his
Oh.
2 is what I'm hoping it is.
I think I know what your 2 is, but go ahead.
Number 2 for me is Rebirth.
Okay,
Ew.
yeah.
Final
Yep.
Great.
Fantasy Rebirth.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not. I'm proud of you because that's a brave move.
It is a brave move. It is a brave move. It's a personal list. And I think that sometimes I wrap my head around that a little bit more. I love Final Fantasy Rebirth. Do not get me wrong. I've been speaking on what may have had a better soundtrack or other things, but like when I finished that game, I was like, holy smokes, they nailed it. And I think the combination, I think what we were worried about was what's going to happen. It's the open world or a more open world part of the game. Are they going to mess it up? Are they going to, is it not going to have the impact? And no, they did it. They created it. There's a couple of side quests that I think when I was feeling the fatigue
Yeah.
that I just ended up skipping out on. Quite a finish as well, but it looks fantastic. It's just a classic like action RPG-esque, video game. The RPG elements are not as RPG as some other games, but that's fine. It's partly how Final Fantasy VII is normally set up anyway, with materia combined with just get back in the game and have some fun. Run around, get on a chocobo, find this area. The side quests, especially in the open areas, were pretty fun. And I did like how they portrayed the connection of the people in black.
Yep.
I don't know. I just liked how they progressed with you. They were almost like another character that was going on the adventure with you, and how they incorporated it in, and at moments at how they made the game darker than its normal tone. So, Rebirth, play it.
Number 1. Barry, do we match on number 1? My number 1's Rebirth.
You probably do.
My
Yeah.
number 1 is also Rebirth.
Okay. I think the biggest thing I was worried about when they first said they were remaking is it a 1-to-1 remake or is it something different? And then when I found out it was something different, am I still going to like it if it's not the same as what I remember? And I'm actually enjoying the liberties they're taking. Because it's just like it's a similar story that I know and I like hold dearly, but also I'm like, what's going to happen? Because I don't know what's going to happen. They could completely change the ending for all we know, and I'd be totally fine with that. But as a standalone second game, when you know a third one's coming, at least, I could not have asked for more from a Final Fantasy game. I think they know that the general public does not have the attention span for a turn-based RPG anymore. So I'm fully on board with the action RPG that they've been doing. And yeah, a little too many side quests. But again, just like with Indiana Jones, when that hits, I've retrained my brain to just move on. And it's a liberating feeling, and it's allowing me to enjoy these games. Whereas in the past, it may have knocked this and Indiana Jones down more if my brain would have not allowed me to move on. But since I did, I'm just like, yeah, I enjoyed every second of that game. Maybe someday I go back and do those side quests. Maybe not. Doesn't not going to affect like the way the game ends, but I overall just an incredible 80-hour experience, and I cannot wait for the last part, chapter, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and I guess for me, because I won't say too much that you haven't already said, with Rebirth, it was an entryway for me to get into this series, and I didn't think I'd like the character as much as I do. Yes, it helps that my top 2 favorite Final Fantasy character in Zack Fair is in it, and I get a little bit more Zack Fair fanship out of it. Whether or not he makes a difference in the third game, I don't care, just because I care about the other people in this party. And and it's just like they did so many things, whether it's the mini games or the fun trials you do, or the little even the little like the beach section where you're doing all of these weird mini games, and it's like, okay, like this, like they make this fun enough that I am enjoying the bits of it that I am playing. And much like you, Craig, I don't feel like this game probably would have been my number one had I went and like I just scrapped it. I was like, I cannot go back and do more of like those side missions.
Yep.
I want to get to the end of the game just because I am burnt out on side missions, because there's a lot to do in this game, and they took the liberties of doing so. The open world sections, I think, are all beautiful in their own right, and they make it easy. The Gungaga section is a little confusing. I have to be completely honest with that. The mushroom jumping.
The mushrooms.
Oh boy, the mushroom jumping. How many times
man.
I got lost. But what I'm more interested in is, Craig, I think I know your number one. I think I know what you're gonna say next. I just want to hear you. I want you to have the floor, because had I played more of this game, it probably would have knocked out something else below it. So, what's your number one, and tell us why.
My number one is Star Wars Outlaws. No, I'm just playing.
Is Marvel Rivals.
Hey.
Number one is Metaphor ReFantazio.
Darn it. Oh, Craig. I thought you were going to put Stellar Blade at 1 and at 4.
Oh,
the Bladian membership would have been renewed.
Yep.
Right before we got into the lobby for this podcast, I was literally thinking that, and I scrapped it. I just wanted it to be fair. So I put Metaphor ReFantazio as number one. Start to finish, this is the game that had me intrigued the most. It had me intrigued the entire time. Love the cast of characters. Love the Atlas formula that's baked in here. Like every other game, you can get lost in the menus and such like that. But I like how the story kept evolving, how they kept bringing a lot of political, without forcing it down my throat, political caste system ties into the game. And every area that you went into did feel like its own area in the world. There's not a lot of major cities in this game, which is completely fine. Do not drown me in a bunch of major cities. But every time the story took me to the next area, I was excited to go. I was happy when I got there, and I wanted to go back. So with that combination and the classic traveling around with your friends, in this game, a mechanized walking behemoth that has all of the nice things that you could spend your time with, cooking and cleaning and building rapport with your friends, and a fantastic villain that they do not hide. He is in the first or second scene, and he is the villain. It's him. Like, it doesn't ruin anything for you guys. Like, they tell you at the beginning, hey, this guy's bad. But he has some scenes where I and this doesn't ruin it for you, Barry, he has some scenes that make me like him and not hate him. There's a couple of things I even almost agreed with him.
Yeah.
And I think that just like we come here on this podcast and talk about a movie or TV show where a villain does that to us, this is a very it's a very Silco
Yeah.
villain for all you Arcanies out there. It's a very Silco where you love the guy, but you also are supposed to hate him because he's opposing because what the main characters are doing. So overall, it was clean for me. I know it had some technical issues at launch. I don't know. This wasn't a technical issue year for me, apparently, because I did not except if it was Dragon's Dogma 2. But like I didn't have any issues, and for that, it was a clean experience for beginning to end, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. So that's my number one.
All right. So we listen and we don't judge. We're all going to take the week to fester on all of our games here. What we will do is next week will be the award show type of thing. I will dress up. And I will do my regular hosting Jeff Keighley duties as well, just as a replacement for him. When he's old, Jeff Keighley, look at the tapes. I can do this. And just be in for a fun time next year. When it's literally next year when that episode comes out. So I just want to thank everyone for all the support they give us throughout the year. This 2024 has been such a fun year for all three of us, and we really enjoy all the support that all of you do give us, whether it's a like, a watch, it's a like on the YouTube, like on anything. I appreciate it, or when you comment. So let us be the first to wish you a happy New Year or New Year's Eve, because this will be coming out on Tuesday. And if you are listening on a podcast listening platform of choice, please make sure to leave a like, comment, share it if you feel so inclined. If you're on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below with your top 10 games. What games are we missing? What indies had we not played? What things, should we have played that we didn't? Balatro didn't make this list for any of us, as
Yeah.
I kind of I've noticed. But just enjoy the holiday. Hopefully, we're some part of your holiday here, and you enjoy and get to celebrate as well. With that, before I ramble on too much, enjoy your week. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.